Well, welcome to IAmBirmingham. I'm lucky enough to have some wonderful young people with us. Stelly, Ranjit and Nin. Brilliant. Guys, we've got the election coming up, so I'm going to ask you, Ranjit, first.
Yeah.
Firstly, how old are you?
I'm 30.
You're
so not as young as I look.
Okay, debatable. So, I mean, we've got the general election coming up. What would you like to see?
I think what I'd like to see more is some social change. I think what the most prominent thing I think we need to address is the NHS, because it's severely underfunded. The main thing is we've got to sort out health for the nation's health. So I'm all for like social change. Really. I think what we see now is rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. I think we need some more social equality back on the scene.
So in terms of that argument, I mean, you'll have some people who will say, well, what you need to do is you need to privatise the NHS. So do you agree with privatising the NHS? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't believe in privatising the NHS, because then you've got health for profit, really, and it should, people's ill health should not be a profit motive. Right, this is where things get blurred. So the thing is, if it is publicly owned, it would be more, I was trying to say, well, it's better for the whole country, really, because then what's happening now is what's happening in the country is we've gone more to the right. And Theresa May, she will leave these hospitals open to US investment, and we don't want private corporations running it, because then they can charge whatever.
So you're talking that it's profit ahead of health itself?
Yeah, exactly, and you have like some...
decisions being made, you know what, you're going to die, let you die, because you're not going to make any money out of you.
Exactly, also, these companies have been known to give extra appointments, because to get extra funding from the state. To give appointments for whatever, and also when it's for profit, you have shareholders. You need to please the shareholders. So, yeah, definitely. I don't think like the way things are going. It needs to be more like public.
Definitely. Thank you, Stelly. I assume you're younger.
Yeah, 24.
You're 24. So what's important? Firstly, are you voting?
I'll be voting. Yeah.
You will be voting. You don't need to tell us what party you're voting for.
I won't be telling you.
Yeah, that's good. But what's important to you? You know.
Touching on the point that
Ranjit,
Ranjit has just mentioned about the NHS. Of course, you can't put a price on life, in my opinion. And I think an important point that we need to make here is that if you're in hospital for one day, that's £7,000 of money. Where's that money coming from at the moment? Then we talk about it being underfunded, not enough money going into it. And again, I'll touch back on that point. You can't put a price on life. If there's one thing that we should be pouring our money into, it is the NHS. That and the police department as well. So over 20,000 police officers. We are now 20,000 short from what we were this time 4 years ago, I believe. Yeah, you've seen a massive rise in crime.
I was going to say, do you feel
a massive rise in crime?
Do you feel unsafe on the streets?
I wouldn't say I feel unsafe. You know, I'm quite streetwise, as are a lot of people in Birmingham. I like to think that Birmingham's actually quite a safe city, so I wouldn't ever go out thinking, oh, I'm in Birmingham, I'm in danger, because it's my city, and I'm quite proud to be a Birmingham.
Is it more of a case of at the big end, the top end of crime? So, you know, whether it's the drug dealers, whether it's those who are messing around with the system, whether it's corporation tax, whether it's various schemes.
I think we've seen a rise in drug dealings and you know, crimes on the streets, and that is because we've had less police officers out on the streets. Okay, that's not good. That's not good for our community. That's not good for our country. Okay, we need to make sure that our country is a safe place. And at the moment, I know that a lot of people speak out and they say that they don't feel safe in our country, or even visiting our city in our country. That's not good. We're actually quite a safe city.
Do you think that this is to do with illegal immigrants being in this country?
Absolutely not. Okay. If you look at some of the reports over the last few years, okay, we have terrorists from all sorts of races, ethnicities, religions. So we can't pinpoint a certain race or ethnicity or religion. That's not fair, because that's like saying, you know, oh, the gentleman, not so much a gentleman, who was involved in the attack last week, a barbaric attack as well in Manchester. That's like saying, oh, because he's Muslim. Well, no, not because he's Muslim, because whoever's got into his head and told him what he was doing was right, okay, they're an issue, okay, and that is the problem at the moment. It's we've got a big problem with integration, don't get me wrong, and I feel that is a big problem. However, 99% of immigrants want to get on with everybody here, and they want to integrate, and they want to communicate with the rest of us. Okay, it's just a very small percentage that are being very small-minded, but I also think that it's a bigger percentage of people who are born here that are also being small-minded.
You definitely want to integrate?
I want to integrate, yeah.
Brilliant. Nin? What's important for you? I mean, do you want to give your age? You don't have to. Are you young? Are you?
I'm fairly young. Yeah.
Brilliant.
30 years old.
30. What's important to you? I mean, are you on the housing ladder?
Not as yet. No.
Do you think it's easy to get on the housing ladder?
I think at present probably not. No.
Who do you blame anyone for that? Or, I mean, would you like to see any changes to make your life easier to help you get onto that housing ladder?
Perhaps some help from the government, I think, with deposits and things like that, something for first-time buyers. I know there is something more in place, but I think
there was Help to Buy, but that got abolished.
Yeah.
So,
is that not in place?
No. They've got certain ISAs, but it's a bit tricky.
What about in terms of renting then? Do you think that's easy as well? Do you think that there's more things that are needed to be done with dodgy landlords? What's important to you?
I would say perhaps women's rights. I think there needs to be more emphasis on perhaps like equality in the workplace. Women getting paid the same as men in the workplace and things like that.
People may argue, well, wait there, you've got Theresa May in charge. Come on, that's the highest position that you can possibly get. You've got the Queen who's running the country. You've got two females there who are in the two highest positions possible in the UK. Yeah. What more do you want?
I think as a majority, like the females of this country are getting paid a lot less for doing the same sort of job. And I don't think that's very fair. I mean, if you put in the same work as a man, you should be getting paid the same.
Do you think there's also a difference at if you're working in jobs which are lower down? So do you think there's a lot of women who are getting the minimum wage as opposed? Do you think that should increase, or do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think minimum wage should increase definitely, because at the moment it's just not viable in terms of living on the minimum wage, and it's hard to make ends meet.
That's great. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you for IAmBirmingham.